Welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 250,000 subscribers. So thank you all for coming back. Most importantly, remember, there's so much to talk about. Now's not the time to step away and unsubscribe. Now is the time to subscribe. And most importantly, tell your friends to join as well. All right. This is going to be a little bit of an unusual episode. Why? Because we're really going to have a discussion now about recess appointments. It's going to be a little bit different than the other episodes that you see, as well as Trump's push to do this. All right. First, I want to show you a clip of Jake Tapper and Speaker Mike Johnson discussing Trump's cabinet picks and describing them as disruptors. Play the clip.
You're a man of faith. You're a man of God. You're a man of family. With some of these nominees, Gates, Hegseth, RFK Jr., I wonder, does it matter anymore for Republicans to think of leaders as people who are moral in their personal lives? Is that still important to the Republican Party?
Sure. It's an important issue for anyone in leadership. This is what I'll say about the nominees that the president has put forward, is that they are persons who will shake up the status quo. And I think what the American people have believe and what they've delivered with the mandate in this election is a demand that we shake up the status quo. It's not working for the American people. So use the term in the opening about how these are disruptors. They are. I think that's by design. Any president has the right to name their own cabinet, to nominate persons that they think will fulfill their agenda. And the people that are on this list will do that. They will go into the agency.
Now, so many of these episodes that you've shared with me, I've been turning around and saying literally since the day that the election was called, that the president has to have the absolute right to pick and choose his cabinet. Who else is going to pick it for him? Me? You? Right? Joe Biden? President Obama? Kamala Harris? Nancy Pelosi? He has the right to pick and choose who he wants to work with. That's his right for winning the presidency. And you know what? I don't even like the term disruptors. The fact that Jake Tapper doesn't think that these people are moral, that he doesn't think that these people are going to be, do a good job. Based upon what? Based upon what? And the answer is nothing. Does he have the crystal ball that I keep referring to in all of these episodes and on my podcasts and my YouTube channel? No, they do not have it. We all need to sit back, take a deep breath, and wait to see what happens. And I assure you that the system will prevent them from being disruptors. All right? One person is not going to change 249 years of processes. Now, this is where I said that this episode is going to be a little different than the usual ones, because I want to show you, because I really want to talk about this whole concept of recess appointments. And I want to start by showing you an article from the Associated Press. What are recess appointments and how could Trump use them to fill his cabinet? As president-elect, Trump moves to set up a more forceful presidency than in his first term. I'm not so sure that I agree with that. And a forceful president, every president chooses their cabinet. He is choosing loyalists for his cabinet and considering a tool known as recess appointments to skip over Senate confirmations or even some of the most powerful positions in the United States government. It goes on to say that Trump over the weekend demanded that Republican leaders in the Senate, who will hold the majority in the chamber next year, agree to allow recess appointments. You see, you don't just get the right to do it. It has to be agreed upon. And it would be a significant shift in power away from the Senate. But Trump is returning to Washington with almost total support from his party, including the more traditional Republicans who still hold sway in the chamber. Their commitment, however, is being tested now that Trump has turned to pick people outside the Republican Party mainstream, like former Representatives Matt Gaetz of Florida and Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii, for top positions. Now, I want to be very clear about something. Once again, there's a lot of what ifs there. What if the Senate allows him to do it? How does all of this even take place? What is the process for this thing to occur? Because recess appointments are not new. They've been around since Alexander Hamilton, all right? And I want to now show you, for example, an overview of the recess appointments clause from the Constitution. It's Article 2, Section 2, and Clause 3. And it states emphatically that the president shall have power to fill up all vacancies that may happen during the recess of the Senate by granting commissions which shall expire at the end of their next session. It goes on to say that the Supreme Court ultimately, because this became a challenge, and the Supreme Court ultimately adopted a relatively broad interpretation of the clause. The name of that case was called National Labor Relations Board versus Noel Canning. And here's how they define it with respect to the meaning of the phrase recess of the Senate. The court concluded that the phrase applied to both intersession recesses and intrasession recesses. So that's ones that are specific and non-specific. And in so holding, the court, finding the text of the Constitution ambiguous, they relied upon two things. One, a pragmatic interpretation of the clause that would allow the president to ensure the continued functioning of the federal government when the Senate is away, right? That's out of session, and long settled and established historical practice of the president making intrasession recess appointments. Now, the court then declined, however, to say how long a recess must be to fall within the clause. Instead, holding the historical practice counseled that a recess of more than 3 days, but less than 10 days, is presumptively too short to trigger the president's appointment power under the clause. So with respect to the phrase may happen, the majority, again, finding ambiguity in the text of the clause, held that the clause applied both to vacancies that first come into existence during a recess and to vacancies that initially occur before a recess but continue to exist during the recess. In so holding, the court again relied on both pragmatic concerns and historical practice. Why is it that I'm showing this to you? Because all we keep hearing is that Trump intends to shove down this, the throats of the American people appointments like Matt Gaetz, like Tulsi Gabbard, like Pete Hegseth, and several others who, according to, I don't want to call it this, but mainstream media and certain individuals, that they're being forced onto all of us. No, what gave them or forced them onto us was the determination by the American people, by the decision of the American people to cast their vote for Donald Trump as president of the United States. If you were concerned, and none of this, by the way, should be new to you, because you're not going to wake up and say, oh, what the fuck? How did something like this happen? Donald Trump told you exactly what he intended to do. Mike Johnson is actually telling you what you already know, which is that he planned on putting in disruptors, right? Because the people voted for somebody who expressed to them that government is not operating in a manner that is beneficial to you. And the American people, in its plurality, agreed with this. And that's why he won. So now all of a sudden, people are saying, wait. I don't like Mike Huckabee as ambassador to Israel because he is 100% pro-Israel and 100% anti-Palestine, anti-Gaza. And now a large swath of American Muslims, whether it's in Pennsylvania, Michigan, have come out and said, hey, we don't like this nomination. Well, you know what? As they would say, tough shit. It's not your choice now to determine who the president-elect is going to include in his cabinet. Now, I want to also tell you that there are still guardrails. Don't listen to people that tell you there are no guardrails, things are going to run amok and all that. That's bullshit. That's not going to happen. All right? There are still guardrails that prevent it. Are some of the guardrails lowered? The answer is yes. Are they removed entirely? No. We are going to have to live through this. And you know what? What if hypothetically, by putting in these individuals, actually does create a change? And what if that change turns out to be beneficial? You think these folks like a Jake Tapper will have more egg on his face? But what happens if hypothetically he's right, that this is going to be an absolute disaster? Again, we have to expect the guardrails of America's democratic republic to withstand anything, as it has for 249 years. So I hope I gave you a better understanding of recess appointments and how it's going to affect our lives after January 20th. And as always, thanks for listening.
Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.